So then, yes, it is finally that time of the year again where we're going to talk about some albums that come out this year. So, hello, and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now, it's that time of the year where I get to do a lot of videos because I get to talk about my favourite albums that come out in 2018. I get to talk about all the releases that come out in 2018. And then, after we hit New Year's, which is tomorrow, we'll be talking about what I hope to get from 2019. It's a really fun time for me to do videos. There's a lot of cool video ideas that I got. I like doing those three things. I kind of try to cover them every year. Got some really cool videos coming up. I did just get complete on Kate Bush for Christmas. So there'll be a Kate Bush collection video coming up as well for the Kate Bush fans. But nevertheless, I haven't done a video in a good week now. So before we get started on the topic of counting down my favourite albums of the year, I wanted to say I hope everyone had a very, very good Christmas. And I wanted to also say thank you for everyone who supported the channel this year. It's been an amazing year, of course, as always. I'm very lucky. I have some of the nicest people coming here and commenting on my videos and showing love for the channel. So I'm always very respectful of that. And I love you guys so much. It's fantastic. So thank you to everyone who supported the channel this year. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. Hope you all got everything you wanted. All the records, all the films, everything you needed and wanted. I hope you all had a great time. And of course, for tomorrow, I hope everyone has a fantastic New Year's Eve and a fantastic New Year. So yes, it's a very exciting time of the year. But nevertheless, should we get started? So this year was a very weak year for me when it comes to music. For artists that I like. Last year I ended up getting 22 albums, I believe. This year I only got 6. Heard 7, so I've got 7 albums to talk about. One of them I didn't buy, and I'll explain why when we get to that one. Yeah, and generally speaking, even my number 1 spot, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like an amazing album in my opinion. I think all of the albums that were in my top 5 last year would beat all of the albums I listened to this year. So for me, it was a weak year for music, but I know some people are going to say it was a good year for music. But it all comes down to who you listen to and what you like and what not. But nevertheless, 2017 for me was definitely a better year for music. But nevertheless, we'll get started. So I've got 7 albums to talk about here today. And as always, this is my opinion. If I put an album you really liked near the bottom of these 7 albums, God. It is just my opinion, guys, at the end of the day. Nevertheless, let's get started. So my least favourite album of the year that I heard was In the Blue Light by Paul Simon. This was just like the last Paul Simon album for me. It was a struggle to get through. I don't know what it is about him, because I liked his album before this. It's got a black cover in it that's some pattern going across the centre. I forget what it's called. But I quite enjoyed that one. But the last one, Stranger to Stranger, and this one, for me, they've been struggles to get through. I find them both quite boring. But nevertheless, this is an album where he's just redoing old songs. It seems everyone wants to do one of these albums nowadays. None of these were as good as the originals. It's very pointless. And he just kind of sucked the life out of a couple of them almost. It's like, I don't even get the point in this. So, yeah. Paul Simon, In the Blue Light is my least favourite album that I heard in 2018. But I'm sure there is worse. I know there's worse albums out there. So, okay, next up is the album I don't own, because the day this came out, I just happened to have no money in my spending account. So I was like, right, I actually generally can't afford to get this on release day. So I thought, I'll just listen to it on Spotify now. And I listened to it on Spotify and just really didn't enjoy it that much. So I went, you know what, I'm just not going to bother. And that is the Arctic Monkeys' Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. I was so excited for this album. The last 3-4 years when I've been doing my prediction videos for what I want in the upcoming year, I've always said I wanted another Arctic Monkeys album, because AM was incredible. And that was in 2013, I believe now. It's a long time coming, this. And it just wasn't that good of an album. It flowed okay. There were a couple standout songs on it. I can't even remember the tracks. I think there was one called 25, something like that. 5 out of 5, that's it. That one I really enjoyed. But the rest of the album, it was just kind of all bog standard average. People have slaughtered this album, said it's awful, unnecessarily. They've said this because their last albums have all been much higher quality. So I think people have been too harsh on this one. It's not awful, but it sure is disappointing. It's one of the most disappointing albums I've experienced. But then again, I've heard worse. I've had more disappointing albums. It is what it is. I think it should have been a solo album, but nevertheless, it's there. Okay, that's it. After that, I do actually own all of the albums now. So the next one up is going to be one that I really collect this band because a lot of my friends who I go out with really enjoy this band. So I kind of pick them up so I can chime in on conversations when this band comes up. And that is Imagine Dragons. This is their fourth album, Evolve. Yeah, I hated Imagine Dragons' last album, which came out last year. It was called... Oh no, that was Evolve, sorry. This is Origins. God, I mean, it's not like it says it right there. Yeah, I really didn't like Evolve. There was like one good song on it. So this is a massive upgrade for me, because there was only 2 songs on here I didn't like. Bullet in a Gun and Digital are absolutely awful. They're appalling songs. Other than that, this album is what it is. It's an Imagine Dragons album. You know what you're getting from it. They of course love to go overboard on the production of some of these songs. But then there are others where they actually really brought this album down. Machine was quite good, nice rocking track. West Coast was really nice song. I found Stuck quite good. Birds was alright. It's an album which it has a lot of issues still, but it's better. It's an improvement. It's not a bad listen, but I won't tell anyone to go out their way to hear it. Okay, so next up, this is number 4. This time last year, I would still be talking like number 15 area because I had 20 albums, but nevertheless. Next up is Eric Clapton. This is Happy Xmas, which was also a shock of an album because I didn't expect Imagine Dragons to release an album 1 year after their last one. Didn't expect Eric Clapton to just drop a random Christmas album. Yeah, this is not a great album. It is what it is. It's Christmas stuff, and it's very traditional Christmas stuff, which is never really my thing. I hate the cover. I'm going to throw that out there now. I hate it. Because I'm sure some of you might be seeing this for the first time, because this was not promoted at all. But you know what? The reason I put this album above the other 3 is because Clapton kept to his style. He put his own twist on a lot of these songs. White Christmas he does in this bluesy style, and it just sounds quite unique compared to any other version of White Christmas I've heard. The album flows really well. There's a couple songs on here that are, like Away in the Manger is really dreary and whatnot. The Jingle Bells, which was in memory of Avicii, the producer, was awful. But there's some standout moments on here. Home for the Holidays is a very, very catchy song, which I will put on my Clapton playlist. I really enjoyed that song. It is what it is. It's alright. It's good this time of year. And if it wasn't, obviously, this time of year, this would probably fall a lot nearer the bottom. But hey ho, there it is. Next up, coming in at number 3, is True Meanings by Mr. Paul Weller. What an album. This is where the albums, like the top 3 albums were entertaining. It's True Meanings. This is the most classy album, the most professional album that came out this year, that's for sure, that I've heard. There's some incredible stuff on here. This was really good. I actually think this is up there, almost as good as the last album, A Kind Revolution. It's a beautiful copy on vinyl as well. And really, I can't think of any standout songs, but I can't think of any weak songs. This whole album just flows really well. It does get a bit repetitive, which is the only downfall or downside of this album. But nevertheless, this is a really good listen. Any Paul Weller fan, any Jam fan, you know, you got to pick it up. It's a really good album. Very entertaining. And I had a good time listening to this one. And it's one that I do think I'll go back to. And as I say, for us vinyl collectors, it's lovely. It's a really, really nice copy. You get a little book in there as well. Beautiful. Okay, coming in at number 2 is the one which I'm sure most people are waiting to pop up. And I'm pretty sure most people are probably hoping for it to be number 1. But unfortunately for me, it's not. That is Paul McCartney's Egypt Station. Yeah, when this album came out, I was very disappointed. I just didn't think it was great. It's not as good as New. I still stand by that. I don't think it's... Like, New is like an 8 out of 10 record for me. This is probably like 6.5 to a 7. Nevertheless, it's grown on me, I will admit. It's still not going to be one of my favourite McCartney albums. The best thing about it is this vinyl pressing. It's beautiful. If we were doing, like, you know, what one wins on artwork and packaging, this definitely wins. There's some good stuff on here. I Don't Know is a nice ballad. Come On To Me is fun. Who Cares is good. Dominoes I quite like. And despite repeated warnings of my personal favourite tracks on this album, I feel like for the wait, it didn't quite pay off what I wanted, the way I wanted it to, and I think it come off a much stronger album as well, which is why I found it disappointing. But nevertheless, it's a fun album. It's a McCartney album at the end of the day. It's good. It's good. It's not great. It's good. Not great. That's about the best I can do on that one. It's a good album. I enjoy it. And I think any Paul McCartney fan, any Beatles fan will also enjoy it because it has the fun, catchy songs like Who Cares on there, which work really well. But nevertheless, coming in as my number 1 album, this is not going to be a long video, I'm just looking at the time. Coming in as my number 1 album is Redemption by Joe Bonamassa. I adored Joe Bonamassa's last album, Blues Desperation, in 2016. I put that as my favourite album of 2016. And honestly, when I heard this album, because this came out quite early on in the year, I thought, wow, this is really good. But I don't think Joe's going to end up as my number 1 spot for the year, because it's not as good as Blues Desperation. But then, like, barely any albums come out that I wanted to buy. So Joe has managed to sneak in another number 1 spot for me. It's not as good as Blues of Desperation, so, because I know that I ragged on about that album on this channel for ages, because I loved it so much, and it still is one of my all-time favourite records. I wouldn't say to people, go buy this one as much as I'd say to go buy his last one, Blues Desperation. But nevertheless, I'd still say pick this up, give it a go. It's really good. It's got that classic modern blues sound. He's got the, you know, really good American-styled vocal singing. There's some good stuff on here. Evil Mama's really good. Molly-O, I really liked. Self-Inflicted Wounds was a good track. Redemption, the title track, probably the best one on here, I reckon. Stronger Now, Broken Places is good. Love Is a Gamble, the closing track, was really good as well. Yeah, it's good. It's a very good album. You know, Joe's been busy again this year. We got a few live albums from him, but it was nice to get a proper studio album from Joe because it's been a while. I believe since Blues of Desperation, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 releases. So it's nice to finally get a studio album from him again. Just him, not Beth Hart, none of the Black Country Communion stuff, or what's the other one? Five Finger. No, hang on. Rock Candy Funk Party. Rock Candy Funk Party. That's it. I was thinking Five Finger Death Punch. I'm thinking that's definitely not Joe Bonamassa. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm going to give my number 1 spot this year again to Joe Bonamassa. As I say, I'm not trying to be Joe biased there because I generally felt he's not going to get the number 1 spot this year. But because there wasn't many releases, he snuck it through. So nevertheless, that is my least to best albums of 2018 that I've heard. Hasn't been a great year for music for me. I'm hoping that 2019 will be better. Of course, I will be doing a video probably next week at some point, talking about albums that I hope are coming up. Because that's always fun, isn't it? Because half of them never fall through, but no, half of them didn't fall through this year. There were loads. To be fair, the 2 albums that I wanted to fall through the most were Arctic Monkeys and Paul McCartney. So I got my top 2, even though the Arctic Monkeys one I kind of wish hadn't have happened. But nevertheless, that is it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back very soon with another couple videos because I know there's been a bit of a gap between this and my last one. But as I say, I've got 2 more videos which I definitely want to talk about. I also want to talk about some Kate Bush because I'm really into her at the minute and I just got complete. But nevertheless, that is it for this video, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye bye.